Hello students, in our series of beta and gamma function part 4, we will discuss about two important results. One is relation between beta and gamma function, and second would be duplication formula. So we will start with relation between beta and gamma function. To prove the relation between beta and gamma function, we will start with gamma of n, and we know gamma n is definite integral 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus of x raised to the power n minus 1 d of x, where n must be positive real number. So we will start with gamma function, then substitute, put x is equal to t into z, where z is the new variable. Then if we differentiate, d of x would be equal to t into d of z. Now we will find the limits. When x is equal to 0, z would be equal to 0, and when x tends to infinity, z would tend to infinity. So gamma of n would be equal to 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus t of z. X will be replaced by t of z raised to the power n minus 1. Then d of x would be t into d of z. Now it can be simplified as 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus t of z, t raised to the power n, z raised to the power n minus 1 into d of z. Now to establish the relation, we will multiply both sides with e raised to the power minus t raised to the power m minus 1. Basically what we are trying to do, that we will construct new gamma function, gamma of n, and we have taken the terms. When we will write gamma of n, it would be definite integral 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus t raised to the power m minus 1 d of t. So we have taken these terms in such a way that after integration we can construct a new function gamma of n in the multiplication of this gamma of n. So multiplying both sides with this function, it would become e raised to the power minus t raised to the power m minus 1 gamma of n, and it would be equal to e raised to the power minus t raised to the power m minus 1 integral 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus t into z, t raised to the power n, z raised to the power n minus 1 d of z. Now we are looking that this integral is with respect to the variable z. So e raised to the power minus t raised to the power m minus 1, it would be a constant with respect to the variable z. So we can multiply with it inside the integration. It would be integral 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus t and e raised to the power minus t into z. We can combine it as e raised to the power z plus 1 into t. Again, t raised to the power n is already there, and we have multiplied with t raised to the power m minus 1. So it can be written as t raised to the power m plus n minus 1, z raised to the power n minus 1, d of z. So again, look at here. This integration was with the variable, with respect to the variable z. So these terms, e raised to the power minus t, t raised to the power m minus 1, would be constant, so they can be multiplied inside. And when we simplify that, we have already have t raised to the power, e raised to the power minus tz. We multiplied with e raised to the power minus t. We have combined them, and we can write them e raised to the power z plus 1 into t. Again, t raised to the power n was already there. We have multiplied with t raised to the power m minus 1. So we get t raised to the power m plus n minus 1, z raised to the power n minus 1 into dz. Now, to convert this term in form of gamma function, we will integrate with respect to t with the limits 0 to infinity. Then next step, integrating both sides with respect to variable t with the limits 0 to infinity. Then we would integrate both sides. Here gamma n is constant. It would be integration 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus t, t raised to the power m minus 1, d of t. Again look, we are integrating with respect to t with the limits 0 to infinity. We have done this thing. Gamma n was constant, so it came outside. On the right hand side, we have already one integration, and we are integrating again. So it would be a double integral. It would be e raised to the power minus z plus 1 into t, t raised to the power m plus n minus 1, z raised to the power n minus 1, d of z, d of t. So again look, we have integrated with respect to t on both sides with the limit 0 to infinity. Now this is again gamma of m, so we can write, we already have gamma of n, and from the definition this would be gamma of m. And on the right hand side, it is a double integral with constants limits. Both the variable z and t have limits from 0 to infinity, so we can change the order at our will, and we are changing the order of integral in such a way that we would find integration with respect to t at the first time, and then we would integrate it with respect to z second time. So it would become, so it would be z raised to the power n minus 1 integral 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus z plus 1 t into t raised to the power m plus n minus 1 d of t, and it would be d of z. Again look what we have done. We have changed the order of integration of this double integral. So we are taking integration with respect to t at first position. If we are integrating with t, then z would be constant. So the term containing z, this z raised to the power n minus 1, that can be put out of the integration. So if we try to find or try to solve this integral, this can be converted into gamma function, but for that we know that there must be the coefficient of variable is -1. So to convert this constant from here, we will again put z plus 1 t is equal to, suppose, y, then z plus 1 into t dt would be equal to d of y, and from here we can write d of t is dy over z plus 1. Again, if we find the limits, when t is 0, y would be 0, and again when t tends to infinity, y would also tends to infinity. So from here we can write gamma of m, gamma of n, and that is equal to integral 0 to infinity z raised to the power n minus 1 integral 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus y, and t can be written as y over z plus 1. So y over z plus 1 raised to the power n plus n minus 1 into dy over z plus 1, and it would be integrated with respect to z. So again look here, to convert it into gamma function we must remove this constant z plus 1 from the power of exponential function. So we will substitute z plus 1 into t is equal to y. From here we will find d of t, we will find the value of t, we would find the limits. When we will substitute, we will get integral 0 to infinity z raised to the power n minus 1 integral 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus y, y raised to the power m plus n minus 1 over z plus 1 raised to the power m plus n, because here the power of z plus 1 was m plus n minus 1 and one power come from here, so the total power of z plus 1 would be m plus n. So when we are integrating with respect to y first, so z would remain constant, so it would be equal to 0 to infinity z raised to the power n minus 1, and z is constant, so we can put z plus 1 raised to the power m plus n outside, and we will left with the integral 0 to infinity e की power minus y, y raised to the power m plus n minus 1 d of y, and it would again be of z. Now look at this integral. It is 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus y, y raised to the power m plus n minus 1 d of y, and it can be written in form of gamma function directly from here, and it would be equal to gamma of m plus n. Again you can compare it with the definition of gamma function. Then this is gamma of m plus n, and we will left with the integral 0 to infinity z raised to the power n minus 1 over z plus 1 raised to the power m plus n d of z. And we know by the second definition of beta function, it is the second form of beta function, and this is beta of mn. So what we find from here, we have found that gamma of m, gamma of n is equal to gamma of m plus n into beta of mn. And again from here we can write beta of mn is equal to gamma of m, gamma of n over gamma of m plus n. So this is the relation between beta and gamma function. So from the relation between beta and gamma function, that is beta of mn is equal to gamma of m, gamma of n over gamma of m plus 1, m plus n. We can find one more important result, and that is gamma of 1 by 2 is equal to under the root pi. Using the result, beta mn is equal to gamma m, gamma n over gamma of m plus n, we can find the value of gamma 1 by 2. So to find the value of gamma 1 by 2, we will start with beta of 1 by 2, 1 by 2. We have taken value of m and n as 1 by 2, 1 by 2. So using the relation, it would be equal to gamma of 1 by 2, gamma of 1 by 2 over gamma of 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2, and it would be gamma of 1 by 2 का whole square over gamma of 1. And in our earlier lectures, we have already found that gamma of 1 is equal to 1. So students, keep it in your mind, or you can check our part 3 where we have shown gamma of 1 is equal to 1. So from here we will get gamma of 1 by 2 whole square is equal to beta of 1 by 2, 1 by 2. Now beta of 1 by 2, 1 by 2, we will write its definition. It is definite integral 0 to 1 x raised to the power 1 by 2 minus 1, 1 minus x raised to the power 1 by 2 minus 1 d of x. So it would be equal to 0 to 1. Now the power of x would be minus 1 by 2. Again power of 1 minus x is again minus 1 by 2. So it can be written as under the root x, under the root 1 minus x d of x. Now we have to solve this integration. For that we will use the substitution. So use x is equal to sine square theta. Then d of x would be 2 sine theta cos theta d of theta. Also, when x is equal to 0, sine 0 is 0. So what would be the value of theta? It would be 0. Also, when x is equal to 1, so sine square theta is equal to 1, so theta would be equal to pi by 2. So our integration would be equal to 0 to pi by 2, 1 over it is under the root sine square theta under the root 1 minus sine square theta. Now d of x is 2 sine theta cos theta d of theta, and it would be equal to 0 to pi by 2 sine theta cos theta over, now the square root of sine square theta is sine theta, 1 minus sine square theta is cos square theta, then we will take its square root, it will be cos of theta d of theta, and we will left with, I am writing here, from here again watch, that gamma of 1 by 2 whole square is equal to 0 to 1 over under the root x under the root 1 minus x d of x. To solve this integral, we have taken the substitution, x is equal to sine square theta, we found d of x 2 sine theta cos theta d of theta, we found the limit in form of theta, then we simplified the integral and we come to the value that gamma of 1 by 2 whole square is equal to integral 0 to pi by 2. Here sine theta and cos theta will cancel out from numerator and denominator, and we will left with only 2 into d of theta, and its integration would be 2 into theta, and we will take limit, lower limit as 0, upper limit as pi, and when we will put the limits we will get the value, and it is equal to pi. Now gamma of 1 by 2 whole square is equal to pi, so from here we can write gamma of 1 by 2 by taking the square root on both sides, it would be equal to under the root pi. So students, always keep this in mind that gamma of 1 by 2 is equal to under the root pi. So after finding the value of gamma 1 by 2, we will also use one result which we discussed in our earlier lectures, that integral 0 to pi by 2 sine raised to the power p of theta cos raised to the power q of theta d theta. In our earlier part 2, we converted this integral in form of beta function, and we got the result that it would be equal to 1 by 2 beta of p plus 1 by 2 q plus 1 by 2. So students, you can check it out from part 2 in this series of beta and gamma function on my YouTube channel, that integral 0 to pi by 2 sine raised to the power p theta cos raised to the power q theta d theta, and that can be solved using beta function, and we got the result that this integral is equal to 1 by 2 beta of p plus 1 by 2 q plus 1 by 2. Now we have found the relation between beta and gamma function, so I am just writing it in form of gamma function. So this would be equal to 1 by 2 gamma of p plus 1 by 2 gamma of q plus 1 by 2 over gamma of p plus 1 by 2 plus q plus 1 by 2. So you have to keep in mind that this integral 0 to pi by 2 sine raised to the power p theta cos raised to the power q theta d theta, that can be written in form of beta function, or using the relation between beta and gamma function, it can also be written in form of gamma function. So we can solve so many integrations like this. Suppose we are provided with this integral sine raised to the power 3 theta d theta. If we compare the two integrals, here p would be equal to 3 and q is equal to 0. So it can be written as 1 by 2 gamma of 3 plus 1 by 4 as p is equal to 3. Now q is equal to 0. It would be 0 plus 1 by 2 over gamma of 3 plus, it would be 3 plus 1 by 2. So it is 3 plus 1 by 2 plus 0 plus 1 by 2, and it would be equal to 1 by 2 gamma of 2 gamma of 1 by 2 over gamma of 2 plus 1 by 2. So it can be written as 5 by 2. And now using the recurrence relation, we can also solve it like this: 1 by 2 gamma of 2 gamma of 1 by 2. Here what was our reconciliation? It was gamma of n is equal to n minus 1 gamma of n minus 1 and so on. So here it is gamma of 5 by 2 and it can be written as 3 by 2 gamma of 3 by 2. Again it would be equal to 1 by 2 gamma of 2 gamma of 1 by 2 over 3 by 2. Again gamma 3 by 2 can be written using the same recurrence relation. It would be 1 by 2 gamma of 1 by 2, and gamma of 1 by 2 will be cancelled out and we will left with, if we solve here, it would be 2 by 3 gamma of 2. So in this way we can solve so many integrals of this form either using the concept of gamma function. Okay, so in our next series we will find the duplication formula and some other special examples of beta and gamma function. Thank you.